If you want your tea, you bring your tea.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah, now it's that Lotus thing. Same thing as usual. Watch out, it has things in it.
Things.
I don't know, little things in it.
Is that the same Lotus one that's been breaking down for months now?
It's a different one, but it's the same brand.
It's rancid.
No, it's the
rancid tea.
same brand, but different. Let's hit the spot. It's hot. It's hot. Careful.
Okay.
Sophisticated.
You're listening to Articulate with your hosts, Kevin Kramer and Sean Gillespie, your go-to guys for art tips, techniques, and general artist ramblings. Presented by drawingandcoloring.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Articulate, the show where we talk about everything art. I'm Kevin Kramer.
I'm Sean Gillespie. I like that you said show instead of podcast.
Yeah,
that was a good job.
Got on top of that one.
That was good.
Yeah.
The show.
Well, today's show, we're going to be talking about...
We're going to talk about furniture as art. So we got a really nice message from a guy named Shane, I think it was, on YouTube, who was talking about, he just found our show and seemed to be enjoying it.
On Stitcher Radio, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that one.
Yeah, check it out. Now, Shane is a furniture builder, and he definitely... You know, maybe we'll interview him later if he's up for it, but he's obviously going to be way more of an expert than we are about furniture as art. But we thought we would do just a little talk about furniture as art. Now, obviously, we're not experts on this particular subject. Right. We don't make furniture, although I did make these really nice bookshelves right over there.
Yeah, those are pretty decent.
Only the top shelf is uneven. But anyway. So yeah, so we're just gonna we dedicate this show to
that's not the only one that you can see.
It's the only one I can see is uneven. But we dedicate this show to Shane for leaving us such a nice message, and this should make you guys also send us messages, right? Because you know, if you message us and you tell us what you want to hear about, we'll talk about it.
Exactly. Give you a shout out.
Right.
That's how this works.
All right. So I'd first like to start this by talking about this beautiful work of art. Right
this
here.
Thing right here?
Yeah, this is, I call it a Jackson Pollock of furniture. It's got a little bit of soup and a little bit of who knows.
Throw everything
Yeah, it's all covered up.
That's probably why I'm sitting on this blanket.
Right, this is why you're sitting on the blanket, because you don't want to actually see what's under the blanket. But this brings up a good point. So Kevin.
What kind of point does that bring up?
A point that is in my head that I'm about to get to. So Kevin, what year would you think that this couch or love seat is from?
I'd say probably the 90s.
The 90s. That's ambitious. All right. Do you really think? Let me show you a little bit more. Show you a little bit more here.
80s, 90s.
Oh, that's an 80s couch. That is an 80s couch. All right. 80s couch, maybe early 90s, but I think it was definitely 80s because my parents got it when I was a kid. So
87.
So it's 80s. Yeah. So it's definitely like height of 80s. But my point.
That's old.
Right? It is old. It is old. I hang on to things. You know, I get a new couch. I might get it recovered. I've been thinking about that, actually. Y'all might see some new furniture a year from now when I have money.
There's a good place in town.
Well, I actually know somebody who does covering. She refinishes furniture in like crazy patterns. Like she'll do a Dias de los Muertos pattern on it and things like that. So it'll be a real cool, trippy pattern, which is its own art.
So she does
right?
textile then?
Yeah, she does textile, and she'll cover it, and it'll be like a crazy pattern, but the furniture itself is not crazy, right?
Okay.
And in this case, like the styling of the couch, you know, you may not be like, oh yeah, that's the year, this was in the 80s, but the fabric gives it away, right? And my point, the point emerges, is that furniture really mirrors the art movements of the time. So, like, you have Art Deco furniture, and you have Art Nouveau furniture, and with the Quakers and their simplistic thing, you have Quaker furniture, and you have all these, you know, which is usually just austere and simple, hard lines, and then with Art Deco, you might have, you know, the lines and designs worked into the furniture itself. So my point, still getting there, is that furniture evolves with art movements, that they go hand in hand, and that I think is pretty interesting. Thought about that earlier today.
I think one of the main ones that I always think about when just because I like more like modern things like that is Eames. all of the Eames furniture is it's in the 60s. So like that super, or even maybe a little bit before that, that's super clean, modern. You ever see like everything that's made out of like plywood, like molded plywood and leather and any kind of modern furniture you see at IKEA?
Right.
It's like an Eames knockoff.
Okay. All right.
Like, so, you ever see
and
that...
Frank Lloyd Wright made furniture, too. Which was,
same era. Same type of era. But the Eames furniture was actually built... They built... I think they built stretchers for the Army initially. And they built it with some new proprietary way of bending the plywood.
Okay.
And then they developed their furniture out of that process.
Huh. All right. I did not know about that.
Yeah. That's pretty...
There you go. Eames.
Eames. It's pretty big.
It is cool. That is cool. All right, didn't know about that. But yeah, so it moves with it, and so what's interesting is also you get things like other artists who furniture is not their medium delving into furniture, and there's a surprising number of those. Like Salvador Dali made those lips, which are in the Dali Museum now. Those big giant lips couch or whatever.
Well, even what's his name? Alphonse Mucha, he did a lot of... I mean, he did mostly prints and stuff. That's what he's famous for. And, like, he did stained glass. He did jewelry. He did all kind of stuff. He'd even designed a church, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
With all of the stained glass.
Yeah.
And the entrance, everything. It's just... It's really the style that you're being...
That's being, reused. And same like we said, Frank Lloyd Wright really created like a lot of Art Deco furniture and things like that, you know, in modern style. And then you also get things like the Hemingway collection. And it's like, he's a writer. He didn't make the furniture, but these people have...
tone.
They've gotten his essence in the furniture.
Captured
and it's these leather furniture with a tiger rug and, you know, and all this, and, you know, a little cigar, you know, thing. And you're like, oh, yes, you know, all of these things are part of his... Like persona.
Feel like you're in his house.
Furniture really, like, encapsulates who we are. That being said, I am not this.
I'm an 80s.
Sometimes it also encapsulates how much money you have or don't have. So,
if you have outdated furniture.
Right, if I have like way outdated. And this one, like this couch, I've got like a little spot where I just sink into it because, you know, this furniture shows that I live alone and sit in the same damn spot every night. So furniture can tell all kinds of things about people.
About your life.
So one of my favorite, actually, do we dare move the camera? I might.
You can move the camera.
I might move the camera and show.
You gonna pick the camera up?
I might get a little behind the scenes thing here.
Oh.
I'm gonna show you one of my favorite pieces of furniture here. Oh, those are the shelves I built. Is my 1920s barber chair. Right? Obviously intended for barber purposes, but now has become just furniture and in the household.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, it was never meant to be in some weirdo like me's living room.
No, not by any means.
But here it is in my living room, and I love the thing. Love it. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't adjust it just right for this one.
I can't see myself.
No, I know. So anyway, so that furniture, you can look at it and you can tell by the design and by the it is repurposed, but also like the decor in it is 1920s. It screams like that. And I've looked it up, and this model chair was circa 1890s through the 1930s.
Right, and you can see by that graph, like the I can't think of what they call that, but the intricacies in the metal, all of that, all the flowers and all the patterns. But yeah,
and so that one is 1920s chair, like it's authentic.
Right,
that damn thing is 400 pounds.
Jeez.
It has a built-in hydraulic system that you can pump up and go up. Yeah, it'll get you up there, boy.
Is that what that handle is?
Hey, man, if you will manage the camera, I will demonstrate. Let's say this was unplanned, but here we go. I'll show. I show and tell. I like showing off my little chair here.
All right. I don't know what you're doing here.
All right, girl.
I'll get the camera.
Yeah, grab that there, and I'll show you.
You're going to pump yourself up.
I'm going to pump it up, man. Ooh. So you got the little guy right here. Bends over like this. Right, now I think it's, easy to say that this chair is a work of art. And then you get the hydraulic system. Pump it up. It swivels.
Nice.
Does everything. And if I wasn't up against the wall, I can lean this puppy back and kick my legs all out. This thing is awesome.
That is... Oh, look how smooth
Oh, look how smooth. Smooth ride. Smooth ride. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, so this baby... But anyway, you can tell it's a Koken, but you can tell by the design that it's obviously 1920s. It's got Art Nouveau and Art Deco themes, so it's a little dusty. But
yeah, exactly.
Right, and then also around that time, you also saw a lot of like rivets like this, and as well as the color of the fabric. Things, you know, fabric comes in and out of styling. So you know, so a lot of things like that. We'll show you, you know, the time period of the furniture, but also it reflects the art of that time.
Right. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying about Eames, Eames is not just two people. It was him and his wife, but it's not just them anymore. They have a brand where they have hundreds of designers creating that type of style. And they have created all of these different things under that name. So it's like, oh, that's an Eames, but it's not that guy. It's actually this guy's design.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So it's like, it's a brand name now more than anything.
It started off as like Tiffany. Like Tiffany, for example, obviously known for lamps, which is furniture.
Exactly.
But he never picked out the colors of his own glass. He always had women pick out, in his factories, he had women pick out the colors because he felt that women were better at seeing color than men and color coordinating and picking out colors, which, you know, is a little sexist, Tiffany.
Interesting.
But I guess in a good way. He's complimenting him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was his belief. But yeah, and so, but if you buy a Tiffany lamp, then yeah, it's Tiffany's design, it's Tiffany's name on it, but it was most likely made by somebody else within Tiffany's factory, and it'll probably run you between $1,200 and $4,000 anyway. Yeah.
Right, and then it kind of comes into another topic that we'll have another podcast on is it the design or is it the idea or the implementation of that design that makes you the artist?
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
It is, and I think that
maybe coming up next week,
possibly.
But yeah, we'll definitely have to get to that. But yeah, so furniture, you know, reflects what have we learned? What have we discussed? Furniture reflects the art of the time.
Sign of the times.
Sign of the times reflects the art of the time, but also furniture can be the art in and of itself, rather than just a reflection of the art. Definitely. So there's a lot of furniture that is borderline sculpture nowadays. Like one of my favorite is, it was called, it's Herd Mortality by Brian Gauguin. Gauguin, Goggin. Might have mispronounced that, and I apologize, Brian, if I did. But it's there's an article on it of the 10 contemporary artists who use furniture as a medium on Flavor Wire, and you should definitely check that out. We'll probably attach the link if we could talk this guy into it. But yeah, it's got 10. But what it really focuses on is furniture as a medium for sculpture, and so in this one, he's got, for example, a bunch of coffee tables and just tables coming over this wall, and they're all falling on each other, and they're running across the square. And so it's, you know, obviously nobody's going to be sitting there having tea on this sculpture, but it's a work of art in and of itself.
It's more of something that's custom built into a thing.
Yeah, but it's made out of furniture. But there are other things, like there's another one by another artist that has, it's like a bench, or what's it called? Like a picnic table, you know, where the benches are built into the picnic table, but then it just kind of goes up and melts over the railing, and so it just kind of keeps going, and it's but it's functional and but also elegant.
How about that?
There to go. So anyway, give us your thoughts about furniture as art, and what you think about that. I mean, you know, I have been, though. I was at the MoMA a few years back in 2009, I guess 5 or 6 years, and I, you know, and I love the MoMA in New York, love it. But I get to one room, and all that's in there is a chair with the definition of the chair next to it. And then the artist's name underneath that. And definition. I'm like, yeah, it's like chair, and it defined chair, like something you put your ass in. You know, they had a much more articulate
honestly.
Definition, but that was it. That was their piece, their artistic piece. I was not blown away by that art piece.
Right.
It did not blow my mind, and I didn't feel like it had a lot of creativity in it necessarily. But if you do look up furniture as art, you know, you are guaranteed to find some beautiful works of art for sure. Other than that,
well, I think again that goes back to more of a modernist movement with the way things are seen. And I keep going back to Eames, but Eames was one of those it was like the first modern push of the furniture, and that whole redesign with molding plywood. Anything you buy now, it's modern in any kind of way, is molded plywood, it's sheet plywood, all of that.
I like my old school.
You like a 400-pound metal chair.
That's how I go. That's how I roll, you know.
But yeah, it's interesting because it's a whole process, but the art itself is in the process to create the design. It's a whole
like fiberglass boats. I don't know.
Close, maybe.
All right, so give us your thoughts about artist furniture.
Yeah, what do you think?
Send us some messages about other topics you'd like to hear us discuss.
Sure.
Or just like what you're into and what you make, because Shane didn't ask that we talked about this, but he told us what he was into, and we're like, hey, we're going to do this for that guy.
Yeah, that was a hell of a topic.
Yeah.
It was a good one. I'd have thought about it. I forgot about it.
There we go.
There's so many topics.
So many. Who can choose?
You send them our way.
All right.
All right. All right, well, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and find us on Stitcher Radio now. You can find us over there. That's how Shane found us.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Keep on watching or listening.
We'll see you
whatever you're doing
next week.
Just occurred to me that Shane watching this on Stitcher will not be able to see the chair. Sorry, Shane.
Sorry.
We dropped the ball.
Bye.
You've been listening to Articulate with Kevin and Sean. Subscribe on iTunes or check them out on drawingandcoloring.com. Always reminding you to keep it simple.